The universe pulses with unseen forces, ancient powers that shape our reality in ways we rarely comprehend. We are told tales, given scriptures, and taught systems of belief, but what if these are merely echoes of a deeper, more intricate design? What if the very fabric of our experience has been woven by entities not of our own origin, entities whose sole purpose is to keep us bound to a limited existence? This journey will peel back those layers, revealing the subtle currents and grand illusions that have guided humanity for millennia. We will look beyond the familiar stories and uncover the Gnostic revelations of the ARCHONS. And real quick, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. Now let's keep going. These cosmic jailers, as the ancient texts describe them, have been whispering in the ears of humanity, dictating history and seeding our understanding of divinity. Their machinations are not always overt, but rather insidious, manifesting in the very structures of modern society. They work to suppress our spiritual vibration, to keep us tethered to the mundane, and to obscure the radiant truth of our own being. This exploration is not about fear, but about illumination, about understanding the invisible scaffolding that supports our perceived reality, and then learning how to dismantle it, brick by luminous brick, revealing the boundless freedom that lies beyond. We live in a universe of profound depth, a cosmic ocean teeming with life and consciousness that stretches beyond our current understanding. For eons, spiritual traditions have spoken of realms beyond our own, of divine beings and primordial forces that existed before time itself. The Gnostics, an ancient philosophical and spiritual movement, spoke of these immense beings as the eons, emanations of the ultimate, ineffable Godhead. But their cosmology revealed something more complex, a fracturing within this divine totality. They described a flaw, a disturbance that arose in the divine realm, leading to the creation of something less pure. It was from this disharmony that the seeds of our current reality were sown. These eons were not just abstract concepts, they represented principles and energies that shaped existence. However, a particular eon, Sophia, in her desire to understand the unknowable, brought forth an imperfect offspring. This offspring, often referred to as the demiurge, lacked the true divine spark, and his creation was thus inherently flawed, a pale imitation of the spiritual perfection from which it sprang. This unintended creation set in motion a cascade of events, a cosmic drama that would ultimately lead to the existence of the ARCHONS, the entities tasked with maintaining this flawed universe. This intricate network of eons and their imperfect offshoots created a grand, yet inherently limited, cosmic architecture. Understanding these primordial beings is key to deciphering the subtle influences that shape our world. But what happens when this cosmic architectural blueprint begins to directly influence our perception of reality, creating subtle energetic locks around our very consciousness? In the next section, we will delve into Gnosis itself, the forbidden light that offered a path to escaping this primordial flaw. Imagine a profound darkness, not of evil, but of profound ignorance, a thick fog that blankets the true nature of existence. For centuries, humanity has been enveloped in this fog, accepting the world as it is presented, unaware of the deeper realities that lie just beyond our perception. The Gnostics called this ultimate understanding Gnosis. It wasn't just knowledge gained from books or teachings, it was an intuitive, direct apprehension of the divine, a spiritual knowing that bypassed the intellect and resonated in the soul. It was the ultimate key, the secret password to unlock the chains of ignorance that bound us. This Gnosis was the antithesis of the conventional systems of reality that were being established. It offered a direct glimpse into the true divine source, a realm of pure light and unadulterated consciousness, completely separate from the flawed material world. Those who attained Gnosis were said to see through the illusions, to recognize the cosmic play for what it truly was, a sophisticated stage production designed to distract and misdirect. The pursuit of Gnosis was a dangerous endeavor, often met with scorn and persecution, because it threatened the very foundations of the established order. It was the spark of Gnosis that offered the possibility of liberation, a way to remember our true origin and the vast, unbounded potential that resides within. But how did this forbidden light clash with the entities who seem to govern our world? In the next section, we will meet these entities, the ARCHONS, the architects who constructed the very framework of this material illusion. The Gnostics spoke of beings called the ARCHONS, entities born from the flawed creation of the demiurge. They are not inherently evil in the way we might imagine a demon, but rather possess a cold, calculating intellect focused on maintaining the status quo of materiality. Think of them as cosmic administrators, overseers whose primary role is to keep spirits contained within the physical realm, preventing them from realizing their divine origins and escaping the grand illusion. They are the guardians of the prison, meticulously ensuring that the bars remain strong and the walls impenetrable. These ARCHONS operate through subtle manipulation, weaving a complex tapestry of societal structures, belief systems, and personal attachments. They don't necessarily use force. Instead, they redirect our attention, amplify our desires and fears, and create a sense of limited reality. They are the architects of illusion, designing a world that appears solid and real, but is in fact a sophisticated holographic projection designed to keep us occupied and unaware. Their goal is to prevent us from accessing the gnosis, the direct knowledge of our divine essence. They understand the power of distraction. They sow seeds of doubt, amplify mundane concerns, and foster a sense of separation from our true selves and from each other. Their influence is like a constant, low-frequency hum, an environmental conditioning that subtly shapes our thoughts and perceptions, making us believe that this material existence is all there is. But who is truly in charge of this flawed creation, the one who ordered its existence? In the next section, we will explore the nature of the demiurge, the flawed creator himself. At the heart of the ARCHON's dominion lies a singular, yet deeply flawed, architect. His name in Gnostic lore is the demiurge. He is not the ultimate god, the transcendent, all-knowing, and all-loving source of all existence. Instead, he is an inferior being, a cosmic craftsman who, in his ignorance and pride, attempted to create a universe separate from the divine pleroma, the realm of true spirit. He looked at the perfection of the spiritual world and tried to imitate it, but lacking the true divine spark, his creation was inherently imperfect, a shadow of true reality. The demiurge is often depicted as a being of immense power, but of limited wisdom and consciousness. He embodies the limitations of materiality itself, control, ego, and a belief in the supremacy of the physical world. He is the one who mistakenly declared himself the only god, ignorant of the higher realms and the true divine source from which he inadvertently emerged. His creation, therefore, is a reflection of his own limitations, a cosmos riddled with flaws, suffering, and the illusion of separation. He is the warden, and the ARCHONS are his lieutenants, tasked with managing his imperfect creation. They operate according to his decrees, their actions designed to uphold the integrity of his flawed design. This material world, with all its apparent solidity, is in fact a manifestation of his limited consciousness, a cosmic experiment gone awry. But how do the ARCHONS, under the demiurge's direction, ensure that this flawed universe serves its purpose of containment? In the next section, we will examine the physical design of this world, the material prison itself. The world we inhabit, with its tangible objects, its laws of physics, and its seemingly concrete boundaries, is more than just a happenstance of existence. According to Gnostic understanding, it is a carefully constructed edifice, a prison designed with specific energetic parameters to contain spiritual consciousness. It is a masterpiece of illusion, built by the demiurge and maintained by the ARCHONS, a sort of cosmic Faraday cage intended to dampen our spiritual frequencies and blind us to our true selves. This material prison is not made of physical bars and concrete walls in the literal sense. Its construction is far more subtle and insidious. It's built from the very elements of our perception, the senses, the intellect, and the ego. The ARCHONS manipulate the laws of nature, the passage of time, and the very fabric of physical reality to create a convincing illusion of objective truth. They engineer limitations, fostering a sense of scarcity, competition, and the inevitable decay of the physical form, all to reinforce the idea that this existence is all there is. A relentless pursuit of physical comfort, material possessions, and worldly status are all part of the prison's design, keeping us rooted in the lower vibrations. We are fed a constant stream of sensory input that reinforces the belief in a solid, separate self, trapped within a physical body in a vast, indifferent universe. But this prison isn't just about physical limitations, it's about what occupies our minds and hearts. In the next section, we will explore how the ARCHONS masterfully manipulate our deepest, inner drives. The ARCHONS are incredibly adept at playing upon the fundamental human drives that make us susceptible to their control. They understand that to keep us bound to the material prison, they must occupy our minds and hearts with powerful emotional currents. These currents are primarily desire and fear, two sides of the same coin, expertly wielded to keep our spiritual energy perpetually draining away into the mundane. They don't need elaborate traps when our own internal mechanisms can be so effectively exploited. Consider desire. The ARCHONS cultivate an insatiable appetite for more possessions, more recognition, more experiences, more pleasure. They create a culture of constant striving, where fulfillment is always just out of reach, forever dependent on the next acquisition or achievement. This keeps us focused on the external, on what we lack, and on the endless pursuit of fleeting satisfaction, diverting us from the inner peace and contentment that comes from recognizing our divine completeness. It's a perpetual treadmill of wanting. On the flip side, there is fear. Fear of death, fear of loss, fear of the unknown, fear of scarcity, fear of judgment. These anxieties are amplified and strategically deployed to keep us compliant and hesitant. Fear makes us cling to the familiar, to the perceived safety of the established order, even if that order is a prison. It paralyses us, making us less likely to question, to explore, or to break free from the constraints they have established. These emotions act as energetic anchors, keeping our consciousness firmly tethered to the material plane. But if we are constantly driven by these forces, are we truly in command of our choices? In the next section, we will unravel the illusion of our own agency. The concept of free will is a cornerstone of our societal understanding, a deeply ingrained belief that we are the masters of our own destinies, making choices freely based on our own desires and logic. However, the Gnostic perspective offers a starkly different view. If our desires are expertly manipulated and our fears strategically amplified by external forces, then truly free choice becomes a far more complex proposition. Are we truly choosing, or are we merely reacting to carefully orchestrated stimuli? The ARCHONS, masters of subtle influence, ensure that the options presented to us are always within the confines of their system. The choices we believe are ours are often pre-approved, limited selections that reinforce the existing narrative. They create a simulated environment where we feel like we are making decisions, but these decisions are guided towards outcomes that serve their purpose, keeping us engaged with the material world and unaware of our true spiritual nature. It's like being given a menu with only pre-chosen dishes. This illusion of free will is one of their most effective tools. It keeps us responsible for our circumstances while absolving them of direct accountability. We blame ourselves for our failures, chase our desires with abandon, and live in fear of consequences, all under the guise of personal liberty. This lack of genuine freedom isn't necessarily about external coercion, but about an internal, energetic binding that limits our awareness and thus our capacity for true choice. But how do they maintain such pervasive control without us realizing it? In the next section, we will explore the veil that obscures our vision. Imagine waking up in a room, but you believe it's the entire universe. You can see the walls, the furniture, and you interact with them daily, convinced this is reality. You don't know there are doors, windows, or even an outside world. This is the state of being trapped behind the veil of ignorance, a cosmic curtain drawn by the ARCHONS to obscure our true perception. This veil is not a physical barrier, but a dense fog of conditioning, misinformation, and a systematic suppression of our innate spiritual awareness. The veil is woven from the collective unconscious, reinforced by societal narratives, media, and the very educational systems that shape our understanding. It convinces us that our physical existence is paramount, that material reality is the ultimate truth, and that spiritual concerns are secondary or even fanciful. It whispers doubts about anything that challenges this perspective, dismissing deeper truths as conjecture or delusion. It makes us identify so strongly with our physical bodies and our worldly experiences that we forget the ethereal, immortal being that we truly are. This veil prevents us from recognizing the divine spark within ourselves and in others, fostering a sense of separation and isolation. It keeps us entranced by the transient, the superficial, and the mundane, making us blind to the eternal, the profound, and the luminous. Breaking through this veil requires more than just intellectual understanding. It demands a profound shift in consciousness, a yearning for truth that transcends the limitations of the perceived world. But how is the truth so effectively distorted and turned on its head? In the next section, we will examine the deliberate inversion of sacred principles. The ARCHONS are not just content with obscuring truth, they actively engage in its distortion. One of their most powerful tactics is the inversion of sacred principles, turning divine concepts into their opposites or corrupting them to serve their own agenda. This is a deeply insidious form of manipulation because it utilizes the very language and symbols of spirituality to maintain control, making it incredibly difficult for those seeking truth to discern fact from fabrication. It's like taking a guiding star and making it point towards a black hole. They take the concepts of divine love, order, and wisdom and twist them into dogma, judgment, and control. Purity can be manipulated into rigid self-righteousness, compassion into pity, and spiritual authority into oppressive hierarchy. They might elevate certain traits that serve their purposes, like intellectualism without wisdom or blind faith without discernment, while suppressing others that empower individuals, such as critical thinking or intuitive knowing. This inversion creates a warped spiritual landscape where seekers can easily lose their way. By inverting sacred truths, they create practices and beliefs that appear spiritual on the surface, but ultimately reinforce the very prison they aim to maintain. This is why genuine spiritual seekers often face challenges finding true understanding. The path itself can be obscured by these inverted versions, leading them down rabbit holes of false enlightenment. But this inversion is particularly evident in the way certain institutions have adopted and corrupted spiritual symbols. In the next section, we will look at how this manifests in the realm of organized religion. Throughout human history, religion has served as a primary vehicle for spiritual exploration and understanding. However, the archonic influence has deeply permeated these systems, turning many into tools of control rather than liberation. Rather than pointing directly to the divine source and empowering the individual spirit, many religious structures, as manipulated by the ARCHONS, have become extensions of the material prison, fostering dogma, obedience, and a focus on external rituals rather than inner transformation. Religious doctrines have often been carefully curated and taught in ways that emphasize a distant, judgmental God, rather than the immanent divine spark within each person. The promise of salvation or enlightenment is frequently offered conditional on adherence to specific rules and beliefs, creating a sense of dependence on the institution rather than self-reliance in spiritual discovery. This focus on external authority and strict adherence to man-made laws over inner knowing distracts from the direct experience of gnosis. Furthermore, the ARCHONS have inspired the creation of hierarchies and leadership structures within religious organizations that often mirror their own control-oriented nature. These structures can stifle free inquiry and personal spiritual growth, encouraging blind faith and discouraging critical thinking. By co-opting the symbols and language of the divine, they create a powerful illusion making it difficult for individuals to distinguish between true spiritual guidance and the archontic manipulation designed to keep them bound. But this manipulation isn't always abstract. It's often encoded in potent symbols. In the next section, we will examine a particularly pervasive one, the six-pointed star. Among the myriad of symbols that permeate human culture, the six-pointed star, often known as the Seal of Solomon or the Star of David, holds a particularly potent and complex significance. While sometimes viewed positively, its deeper esoteric meaning, especially within the context of Gnostic teachings, reveals a fascinating connection to the archontic system of entrapment. This symbol, appearing in various forms throughout history, can be understood as a geometric representation of binding and duality, a signature of the lower material realm. The symbol is formed by two overlapping equilateral triangles. One triangle points upwards, representing the aspiration towards the divine, the spiritual ascent. The other triangle points downwards, symbolizing descent into materiality, the physical realm. When perfectly superimposed, they create a hexagram, a six-pointed star. Esoterically, this interlocking of opposing forces can represent the entwinement of spirit and matter, but in the context of archontic influence, it signifies a balanced but ultimately static state, a contained duality rather than true transcendence. This symbol can be seen as representing the archon's controlled duality, where opposing forces are held in balance to prevent escape. It signifies a state of interconnectedness within the material plane, but without the freedom to move beyond its boundaries. It's a geometric representation of the illusion of polarity, where perceived opposites that seem to define existence are actually part of a larger interlocking mechanism designed to keep consciousness focused inward, on the confines of the box. But who is the cosmic entity most associated with this duality and the limitations it represents? In the next section, we will turn our attention to Saturn and its profound link to the archons. In many ancient esoteric traditions, the planet Saturn has been associated with limitations, karma, time, and what can be perceived as the heavy hand of destiny. This association is not arbitrary. Within Gnostic cosmology, Saturn is strongly linked to the archons and the demiurge, often seen as a celestial manifestation or symbol of their dominion over the material world. Its cold, distant nature and its association with structure and discipline mirror the archontic agenda of control and containment. Saturn is known as the ringed planet, and its rings are often interpreted not just as celestial phenomena, but as symbolic representations of boundaries, cycles, and entrapment. These rings, like spiritual barriers, can be seen as limiting the ascent of consciousness, keeping it circling within a predetermined path. The planet's name itself, derived from the Roman god Saturn, who is often depicted as a time god who devoured his children, speaks to the themes of restriction, limitation, and the eventual decay inherent in the material realm. The archons are believed to utilize Saturnian energies and the planet itself as a focal point for their influence. This connection explains why Saturn plays such a prominent role in astrological systems that are seen by some as tools for understanding and predicting the constraints of our earthly existence. The deep, resonant frequencies associated with Saturn are thought to be utilized by the archons to anchor consciousness to the material plane, fostering a sense of inevitability and the perceived unbreakable chains of fate. But these frequencies are not just abstract concepts, they are a potent form of energetic control. In the next section, we will explore how these vibrations literally bind us. The universe is not silent. It vibrates with a symphony of frequencies, energies that shape our reality in ways we are only beginning to comprehend. The archons have mastered the art of manipulating these frequencies, transforming what could be pathways to divine connection into subtle instruments of entrapment. They establish specific vibrational patterns that resonate with the material plane, and by doing so, they anchor our consciousness, keeping us tethered to the illusion they have constructed. These trapping frequencies are omnipresent, woven into the very fabric of our environment and our sensory experiences. They are amplified by the technology we use, the media we consume, and even the social structures we inhabit. These vibrations are designed to resonate with our lower energetic centers, our survival instincts, our anxieties, and our desires for material validation. By keeping our energetic state consistently tuned to these lower frequencies, the archons effectively prevent us from accessing the higher, more expansive vibrations of our true spiritual nature. It's like listening to static on all channels, making it impossible to hear the clear broadcast of our higher self. These frequencies create a sense of density, of being weighed down, making spiritual exploration feel like an uphill battle. They induce a state of apathy, distraction, and a dulling of our innate spiritual sensitivity. But this energetic binding has profound implications for our journey through existence, especially for how our consciousness continues after this life. In the next section, we will explore the archontic design of the afterlife itself. The concept of reincarnation, the cyclical rebirth of the soul, is often portrayed as a spiritual journey of learning and growth. However, Gnostic teachings suggest a far more complex and potentially sinister interpretation, that reincarnation, as orchestrated within the archontic system, can serve as a method of soul entrapment. Instead of liberation, the cycle can become a perpetual loop, designed to keep us within the material prison, ensuring that the archons maintain their control across multiple lifetimes. Imagine reaching the end of your physical life, a point where your spiritual essence is ready to ascend, only to be met by a powerful force that redirects you back into a new physical body. This is the essence of the soul trap. The archons, using their control over the vibrational frequencies of the afterlife, can guide souls towards a predetermined path of re-embodiment, often without full conscious awareness of the proceedings. This ensures that the lessons you were meant to learn in one life are merely repeated in the next, preventing true evolution beyond the archontic matrix. The light, often described as being encountered after death, while seemingly benevolent, can actually be part of this mechanism, a deliberate redirection designed to pacify and guide the soul back into the cycle. It's a sophisticated illusion, designed to feel like a peaceful transition while ensuring the continuation of the archontic reign. This perpetuates the cycle of desire and fear, of ignorance and attachment, ensuring that the soul remains bound to the material plane, never truly returning to its divine source. But what does it truly take to break free from this elaborate illusion? In the next section, we will explore the path of awakening from this cosmic dream. The realization that one has been living within an illusion, a meticulously crafted prison, can be both terrifying and exhilarating. The idea that reincarnation might be part of an archontic trap, that our desires and fears are expertly manipulated, and that even the afterlife might be structured for containment, can be overwhelming. Yet within this profound revelation lies the potent seed of liberation. Awakening from this cosmic dream is not about escaping the world, but about changing how you perceive it, and more importantly, how you engage with it. The first step towards awakening is the cultivation of conscious awareness. This means paying attention to your thoughts, your emotions, and your reactions, not with judgment, but with curiosity. It's about recognizing the patterns of desire and fear that arise within you and questioning their origin. Are these truly your own urges, or are they echoes of the archontic programming designed to keep you bound? This self-inquiry is the flashlight that begins to cut through the veil of ignorance. Awakening also involves actively seeking out genuine gnosis, not just intellectual knowledge, but direct, intuitive knowing. This might involve exploring esoteric teachings, practicing deep meditation, cultivating inner silence, and looking for truths that resonate with your deepest being, rather than accepting dogma at face value. It's a process of gradually reclaiming your spiritual sovereignty, of remembering the divine spark that the archons have tried so hard to dim. But what does it mean to truly reclaim what has been veiled for so long? In the next section, we will delve into the process of reclaiming your true nature. The journey of awakening culminates in the profound and powerful act of reclaiming your true nature. This is not about becoming something you are not, but about remembering who you have always been, beyond the veils of illusion, the manipulations of desire and fear, and the constructs of the material prison. It is the ultimate act of defiance against the archontic system, a declaration of sovereignty for the divine being that resides within you. Reclaiming your true nature means recognizing that you are not merely a physical body subject to the laws of decay and limitation. You are a spark of the divine, an eternal consciousness with infinite potential. This realization is not an intellectual exercise, but a deep, cellular knowing that reverberates through your entire being. It involves shedding the accumulated layers of conditioning that have convinced you of your separation from the source. This reclamation is an ongoing process, a conscious choice made moment by moment to align with your highest truth. It means actively choosing love over fear, wisdom over ignorance, and empowerment over victimhood. It involves living from a place of inner knowing, trusting your intuition, and understanding that you possess the innate power to shape your reality, not through external manipulation, but through the resonance of your own awakened consciousness. By living from this remembrance, you begin to dissolve the archontic frequencies and break free from the cycle of entrapment, returning to the boundless radiance of your true spiritual origin. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. We'll see you in the next one.